Why success comes to those who take risk. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to catch opportunities while others spend their lives waiting? Why success often smiles at those who dare to step into the unknown? Maybe it isn't luck. Maybe it's the quiet courage to take a chance. Let me take you to a small, sunlit village, resting at the edge of rolling hills. It's a place where time moves slowly, where farmers greet the sunrise, and children chase each other through fields of gold. Life there is peaceful, but it rarely changes. People are content with what they know, even if their dreams whisper of something more. In this village lived a young man named Arun. He was thoughtful and gentle, with a spark in his eyes that suggested he often imagined a bigger world beyond the hills. Arun helped his father tend a small farm. They grew vegetables and raised a few goats, selling whatever they could spare at the market. There was another figure in the village who everyone admired, Grandfather Raman, a man of calm wisdom. He had lived through storms, droughts, and seasons of abundance. Children loved to sit near him as he carved little birds out of wood, each one different from the next. Raman often said, "Life is a river. It may look calm on the surface, but the current below is always moving. To find where it leads, you must sometimes let go of the shore." One morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of amber, a trader arrived in the village. He led a donkey loaded with gleaming jars and bolts of colorful cloth. The trader spoke of distant towns where markets were lively, and coins exchanged hands as quickly as laughter. He told stories of new tools for farming, seeds that could double harvests, and merchants who paid well for fresh produce. When the trader left, Arun stood at the edge of the path, watching the dust settle. Something stirred inside him. He thought of the same fields he had worked on since childhood, the soil he knew by heart, the goats he had named one by one. He loved them. Yet a quiet voice inside whispered, "There is more if you dare to look." That evening, Arun shared his thoughts with Grandfather Raman. They sat beneath a banyan tree where lanterns flickered against the night breeze. "Arun, Grandfather, what if I tried selling our vegetables in the towns the trader spoke about? He said people there pay twice as much for good produce. Maybe I could earn enough to buy better tools for Father." "Raman, it is a brave idea, child. But every river you cross carries a risk. Are you prepared for its depth?" "Arun, I don't know. What if I lose everything? What if I fail?" "Raman, what if you succeed? You see, good or bad, only time can tell. Fear is a shadow. It grows larger the longer you stare at it." Arun thought about those words long after Raman went home. He lay awake, torn between comfort and curiosity. The next morning, before dawn, he made a decision. He packed a basket of their freshest vegetables, tied it carefully, and borrowed his uncle's old cart. With a deep breath, he set off toward the hills, following the trader's path. The road was rough, and doubts crept in like unwelcome guests. At one point, a wheel on the cart nearly slipped into a ditch. Arun paused, heart racing, but he pushed on. He remembered Raman's calm voice. Fear is a shadow. By midday, he reached a bustling town he had never seen before. Market stalls lined the streets, overflowing with fruits, spices, and fabrics in every color imaginable. Arun felt both nervous and alive. He set up his basket on a small corner, arranging the vegetables as neatly as he could. At first, no one stopped. People were busy haggling, laughing, calling out prices. Arun almost turned back, but then a woman approached. She examined the vegetables and smiled. "These are fresh," she said, handing him a few coins. One customer led to another, and by evening, his basket was empty. Arun walked home with more money in his pocket than he had ever held before. He felt taller somehow, as though the risk had stretched his spirit. When he reached the village, Grandfather Raman was sitting by the fire. Raman, the traveler returns. How was the current of the river? Arun, it was strong at first, but once I stepped in, I learned how to move with it. Raman, that is the way of life. The current tests you, but it also carries you forward. Encouraged by this success, Arun began making trips every week. Each time, he learned a little more: how to choose the best spots in the market, how to talk to customers, how to keep the produce fresh on the journey. He saved enough to buy better baskets and a stronger cart. His father's fields grew richer with the new tools Arun purchased, but not every journey went smoothly. One stormy afternoon, as he was returning from town, rain flooded the path. The cart tipped, spilling vegetables into the mud. Arun felt despair rise in his chest. All his hard work seemed wasted. That night, soaked and weary, he found Raman waiting for him under the banyan tree. Arun, I lost everything today. Maybe I was foolish to take this road. Raman, the river is not always calm, my boy. Sometimes it swells and roars, but even floods leave behind fertile soil. What did you learn, Arun? To tie the baskets tighter, to watch the weather before I travel. Raman, then the loss was not in vain. Risk does not promise safety, only growth, patience, and faith. Those words settled over Arun like a gentle rain. He realized that even failure held seeds of wisdom, waiting to sprout. Seasons passed. Arun's little venture grew. He added honey from wild hives, goat's milk, and fresh herbs to his stall. Soon he hired 2 village boys to help him carry goods. He even began saving for a small shop in the town. One evening, as the sun sank into a lake of orange, Raman called Arun to sit beside him. The old man's eyes glimmered with quiet pride. Raman, do you see how far you've come? Not long ago you feared leaving the farm. Now you bring home stories, coins, and lessons. Arun, I still feel afraid sometimes. Raman, that is good. Fear reminds you to stay humble, but let courage hold the reins. Just when everything seemed to bloom, a new challenge appeared. A wealthy merchant visited the town market and offered to buy Arun's produce in bulk, promising steady income. The catch? Arun would need to plant more crops and borrow money for storage crates. The risk was greater than any he had faced. That night, Arun walked alone by the river. He could hear its steady murmur, as though echoing his own thoughts. He remembered the rain-soaked day, the baskets in the mud, and Raman's steady gaze. The next morning, he found Raman sipping tea. Arun, Grandfather, the merchant's offer could change everything, but I would need to borrow coins and work twice as hard. If it goes wrong, I could lose the farm. Raman, life rarely hands us guarantees. The question is not whether the risk exists, but whether your heart is ready. You have grown roots of wisdom. Now you must decide if you will let your branches reach higher. Arun felt a calm settle over him. He understood that every success he had tasted came from stepping beyond the known. He agreed to the deal. The following months were exhausting. He planted from dawn till dusk, learned to negotiate loans, and trained his helpers. There were days when the sun scorched the fields, and others when rain threatened to drown the seedlings. But Arun persevered. When harvest time arrived, the crops were plentiful. The merchant kept his promise, paying handsomely for each crate. Arun cleared his debts and still had enough to build a small storeroom near the farm. For the first time, he felt not just relieved, but deeply grateful for the risks, the lessons, the storms, and the calm. One evening after the last crate was stacked, Arun sat with Raman under the stars. Arun, Grandfather, I see now. Success doesn't wait for the safest path. It meets us on the road we're willing to take, even if that road is uncertain. Raman? Exactly. Life's treasures are often hidden behind a door marked risk. Only those who knock may enter. Raman paused, looking at the sky where countless stars shimmered. Raman, remember, Arun. Good or bad, only time can tell. Patience turns fear into wisdom. Gratitude keeps victory from becoming pride. And resilience allows you to rise again and again. Arun carried those words in his heart as he continued to grow his venture. He knew there would be more storms, more choices, more leaps into the unknown. But he also knew that every risk held a chance, not just for success, but for becoming the kind of person who could handle it. And so, dear listener, what about you? Are you standing at the edge of your own river, hesitating to cross? Success rarely comes to those who wait for perfect certainty. It comes to those who take a step despite trembling knees, who learn from the current, who remain patient and humble when waters rise. As you leave this story, remember Arun's journey. Let it remind you to meet life with courage, to see setbacks as teachers, and to stay grateful when doors open. If this story spoke to you, share it with someone who might need a gentle nudge toward their own risk. Leave a comment about a moment you dared to step forward and how it shaped you. And don't forget to subscribe to Finance Compass for more stories that guide you through the rivers of life and success.